We have with us Miss Tiffany Brar, the founder of Jyotirgamaya Foundation, an institution that trains those with visual impairment and helps them blend in the mainstream. Now, Ms. Barar, she is a spirited woman, fluent in 5 Indian languages, and she does not let her impairment get better of her. In fact, she's been honored by presidents twice. The most recent one being the Nari Shakti Award that she received. In 2018, during flooding in Wayanad, she collected materials for relief camps. So, getting on to, let's start getting to know her more. What makes her, make her life so extraordinary? So, ma'am, could you first start a little bit and tell us a little bit about how your childhood was and, the kind of how your upbringing has been?
Well, my upbringing, of course, as a person with a visual impairment, my upbringing was very, very different to children from a normal background. Of course, I became blind after my birth, but I don't remember being sighted. I always remember being visually challenged. So, I mean, for that reason, I don't think that being blind is a hurdle because um, if you've never tasted chocolate cake, you don't know what it tastes like. So it's okay because you've grown up not eating it, right? So the same way, I've learned how to see from my inner eyes. I've learned how to feel. I've learned how to hear. I've learned how to smell. I've learned how to use all the other senses. So I don't feel that absence of sight that, okay, I can't see because I can see through other ways. So I studied for the first 2 years of my education in the UK. My father was posted there. And there it was, of course, accessibility. Everything was done with clay and with, modeling, clay modeling and creativity, a lot of learning with the hands. I learned braille with the use of velcro tips and all those things. But then when I came to India, it was a complete setback. It was a complete different environment, studying in a traditional regional language medium blind school. I mean, sitting on the floor writing with a slate and stylus and not with a braille typewriter, having somebody read to you and not having those velcro dots to learn with, learning in a different environment. Then my parents wanted me to go to a sighted school because they were ashamed of me studying in a special school. So in a sighted school, of course, the teachers did not know how to handle me. I was thrown out of the class. I was accused of making my students give the right answer. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, making my fellow students give the wrong answer because I wanted to shine in class and give the right answer. In fact, according to my teachers, as a blind person, I had no right to give the correct answer in class. I mean, how could I? It was a nightmare. I was considered as a nightmare, a burden to the class. And I slowly came out of all those situations. Just imagine, just all the college students, all the youngsters, just imagine, close your eyes and just imagine yourself in the playfield. Imagine all your classmates playing cricket and basketball. You can hear the bats, the balls, the whistles, the skipping ropes, the shouts of your, I mean, fellow friends, and you are just made to stand in a corner and you're told that you're blind, you can't play. Imagine everybody going for a movie and you being left out. Imagine everyone going for an excursion and you being left out. Imagine all these kinds of situations where you're the odd man out. You're excluded because you're different. You're made to think that you're different. Imagine everyone passing paper pellets, commenting about teachers and all that. You're excluded because you can't read those paper pellets. You can't read what is written there. So many things were there where I was excluded. And then I wanted to create a more inclusive environment. I wanted to enable people to do things. I wanted that there should be no backbenchers. And then I grew up slowly. I studied with great difficulty, with different people's kind of help. And then afterwards, I studied in hostel. Of course, I lost my mother when I was 12, and that was a very big setback. My father had to go for the Kargil War in the year 1999. And then I was in different schools, in different environments. I was treated by different people in different ways. Some ill-treated us, some treated us with care and kindness, some treated us badly. And then slowly, I went to college. I finished my bachelor's. Then I worked at an organization called Braille Without Borders, Kantari. You must have heard about it. An organization which trains visionaries to start their own social organization. So I worked there as a translator, a Braille assistant, and as a receptionist. And we used to go on field trips, and I used to do a lot of things there. And then after that, what I did is I went to do my special education. I did my special education in visual impairment, and after that, I started a mobile blind school, and where me and a few volunteers used to go to the homes of blind people on bus. On foot and train them in basic use of braille, use of the white cane, traveling by bus, using mathematical devices, and then slowly in the year 2015 we started the Jyotirgamaya Foundation, a charitable organization. And yeah, that is still running, and we have a 4 month empowerment training course of 4 to 6 months where blind youths and elderly blind people who have lost their sight later in life learn computers, learn the use of Android phones, the use of voice recorders, the use of assistive devices, braille devices, the use of banking applications, the use of Office, MS Office, and all other internet oriented computer applications, the use of the white cane. We also teach them yoga, and now we've started music lessons also. We train women in self defense and reproductive health. We have special workshops for them. We have a food kit distribution every Onam every year, where we distribute rations of food kits to blind ladies and old blind ladies and men who do not have any source of income,
Okay.
and we try to do whatever we can. So this is what Jyotirgamaya does.
Wow. Ma'am, so basically the inspiration, as in so what I understand from what you have said, the basic reason why you started with Jyotirgamaya is so that you can help out, people who probably, I mean, probably because you were not treated so well as by the teachers, probably not anything wrong towards them, but probably they did not know how to, deal. So is that the reason why you started with Jyotirgamaya, so that every person with an impairment is able is able to kind of lead a normal life? Is that what the reason that inspired you to start it?
Well, I would not say yes. Well, I did not want there to be any more blind backbenchers, visually impaired backbenchers. I wanted people to know that there is another door, there is technology, there is advancement, there can be. There is a possibility of people to advance in technology, to be empowered, to travel alone. No one should clip our wings because we are blind.
True. So,
So that is what I wanted to prove by Jyotirgamaya Foundation. I know I cannot help the 15 million blind people in India, but I can help at least a handful of them, and a handful of them can spread their wings and fly.
yes, I'm sure you can. Ma'am, also you were a part of, I think you were the one who invented the taffy template. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, actually, it was named after me.
Oh,
My friend,
really?
yeah, Tiffy
Wow.
template.
Oh,
My
it's
friend Mr.
okay.
Paul
Sorry.
D'Souza, he calls me Tiffy,
Okay.
and he named it the Tiffy template. It was actually full his hard work, but I gave him the idea because we brainstormed about something to identify currency notes, and he made it with low cost material. And with this low cost material, you can fold the currency note inside, and then the length, according to the length of the currency, you can identify. However, now because the Indian currency notes have changed after demonetization, there has
Hmm.
been no progress. My friend has not been able to continue, has not been able to change the template. The template was invented in the year 2014 for
Okay.
the old currency notes. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So are we still working on towards it to kind of make the new?
I'm not part of that project anymore, so that was just my brainchild. But then, of course, yeah, I was more into rehabilitation and teaching. So
Okay.
yeah, and my friend, I mean, Mr. D'Souza, he also had to reframe his organization and all that, and they're Bangalore based, so I could not follow up on that project.
Okay, great. So, ma'am, you have received plenty of awards. Okay, I was going through your Wikipedia and I was amazed because so many, I mean, there must be about 20 awards that you have received from all over. I think you were amongst the first Indians to get the Holman Award, right? From, right?
Yeah, Lighthouse for the Blind. Yes, and that was a really good moment. And also to receive two awards from the same president, the National Award and the Nari Shakti Award. So I'm grateful to the team who stood by me. I'm grateful to my students and to God Almighty for having blessed me with these awards.
So my question here is which award, I'm sure all the awards are very close to you, which shows about your hard work and the kind of social work that you're doing. But which award is the closest to your heart and why is it so?
Well, I would say the national award in 2017, which I received from the President, Honorable President Ramnath Kovind, because he, in his speech on that day in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, he addressed me among many people with disabilities who have even more severe disabilities than myself. He addressed me as courageous daughter of India. He pointed out the adventurous activities that I have done and the social work that I am doing. He said, I mean, he listed each and every one of my activities that I have done rope riding and rope climbing. I have done skydiving, and he remembered all those activities. He must have gone through the bios of so many people who had won national awards and who were nominated for national awards. But he remembered all my achievements, and he especially pointed them out then in that address on December 3rd, 2017. So I feel that that award is really close to my heart.
And what are the kind of challenges that you face while running an organization as Jyotirgamaya Foundation? As in, I'm sure there are quite a number of challenges that you face as a person yourself, as well as, let me put this in two parts. One is as a person yourself, what are the challenges that you have faced, and second is with respect to running such a huge organization, right? So,
Well,
what?
actually, our organization is a very small organization. It's not a huge organization, and a lot of people say that everyone will say that your organization is small. You have only 3, 4 staff members. Why don't you employ this? Why don't you do that? But I feel, if a small chili can make a huge difference.
Yes.
Uh, if a small chili can create a lot of spice, like we say in Kantari International in Rail Without Borders, if a small chili can create so much spice and a small person can create a huge difference, I'm sure the smaller organizations have less, we have less people, so less conflict, we have more productivity because we are more work orientated, we are all comfortable with one another. In Kerala, I don't know how many people understand Malayalam, but I'm sure, Srila ma'am and Maya ma'am, you will understand. In Kerala, we say, Abhiprayangalu Kudumbam, Prashnangalam Kudumam പറയാറുണ്ട് മലയാളത്തിൽ. So when there are too many opinions, then there are too many conflicts. So we are a small organization and we do have challenges with respect to manpower. Of course, sometimes we think, okay, there are not too many people, but then when there are too many people, there is too many opinions, too much conflict, too much man management, because people, sometimes because I'm visually impaired, some people tend to, try to, take advantage of my disability. So a small team is always comfortable, and also the challenges we face with is the conflicts among team members, conflicts among staff members, conflicts with house owners, increase in the rent of buildings. From time to time, yeah, because we are in a rented building. Also, we have conflicts with parents, because parents don't want to actually send their blind children alone, so they are like, we have to always protect them, we have to always chaperone them. So that is the challenge from the parent side, convincing the parents that your blind offspring is equally
Safe hands.
independent just as yourself. He just needs a white cane, and a lot of blind people are ashamed of using the white cane, and if they have a little sight, they think that the white cane is not needed, so they just don't use the white cane. So a lot of people don't realize that they are visually challenged, so they don't get benefits. So spreading that awareness is very challenging. Making also now with the advancement of technology, smartphones. So there's no personal communication, interaction. Beneficiaries are more and more, they don't want to listen. They just think that everything, the smartphone is, the world is actually summed up into the smartphone, and that everything is there. They don't need anything else. They don't need to learn. They don't need to do homework. They don't need to study. They don't need to. So a lot of people are like that, while a lot of other people are very hungry for knowledge. So we have had a we have had quite a few. Success stories also. We had a 40-year-old lady who lost her sight in between, but then she learned how to use an Android phone. She learned how to handle her bank account. She learned how to travel by herself. She used to use an umbrella to walk instead of a white cane. But after learning mobility, she grew confident in the white cane. We convinced her that the white cane is not a shameful device, and she started traveling by bus from Cochin to Trivandrum by herself. And she
Wow.
was someone who never stepped out without a car and a driver. So that is success. So when you run an organization, there is success also. You have a lot of impactful, successful stories. You can be satisfied with one success story in a year. You may have trained around 50 people or 40 people, but you may just have two people who must have come out in flying colors, or who have been impacted in some way. Someone learns how to walk. If one person learns how to type on a computer, if one person learns how to use a smartphone, if one person is empowered in some way, we are satisfied. But earlier, it used to be very disheartening to convince donors and companies, because a lot of people say, "What is your number? How many lives have you impacted? How many?" So I'm like, I don't measure in numbers. I measure in the hearts that I've touched, the lives that I've touched, the people I've changed. If it's one person, I'm very happy. You want to give me money, you give. If you don't want to give, okay, I can't force you, but just look at the lives that I have tried to impact, and then it's up to you. So I don't force any donor that please give, but I would like the donor to come close to me, to come close to my work and give from their heart, not seeing the numbers, but seeing the work. The quantity is not important, the quality is important. So it took me a long time to realize this. And actually, there are also cases where sometimes you don't have funding, sometimes you want to conduct a program, sometimes you don't have funding, sometimes you don't even have a single rupee in your hand, and you have to conduct a program. You have to convince people, you have to go to door fundraising, you have to ask people, you have to beg, borrow, you have to really convince people that your program or the work that you want to do. If I want to conduct a 2 day workshop just for women in self defense, in reproductive health, and I go to a company and I give an elevator pitch that I need funds. They're like, what are you going to change in 2 days? Whose life is going to get changed? Are they superheroes that they're going to be changed in 2 days? What's the point in investing in this workshop? But when we conduct the workshop, sometimes we receive very positive feedback from the beneficiaries. I mean, some of them say, we've done this for the first time. We've done that for the first time. We've held a white cane for the first time. So that is change. But maybe the donor might not think that investing in 2 days workshop, giving food to so many people, giving transport to so many people, giving, white kits or food kits or rations. Okay, even giving rations, it's a part of charity model. They're like, how long will you give them rations? You'll give for Onam, then who'll give for Christmas? I mean, there are donors who ask us such questions, but that what gives the satisfaction in what we do, it's the smile on the other person's face is when they receive it. So there are many challenges. The fundraising is the biggest challenge, to convince people to like actually stand there when you're the center of attention. You have to really convince people. You have to always maintain a good relationship with your donor. You have to always update them. You have to always be in touch with them. You have to always keep up their morale. They have to believe in your work. That's one thing. And also the social media, how you handle your social media, how you respect people, how you thank people. If you've actually forgotten to thank one person, it's like, oh, I didn't thank that person, I didn't tag that person, I didn't mention that person. Even if it's your staff member, your team member, your volunteer, your donor, your supporter, someone, even if it's the kitchen staff that you didn't mention in some sort, they'll be like, okay, I also played an important role there. In a corporate, this doesn't matter, because, okay, everybody gets money, this, that. But in an NGO setup, it's everybody's hand that claps. It's everyone who shows their best. So everyone has to be acknowledged, appreciated, conflict has to be solved, balance has to be made, students have to be made happy, donors have to be made happy, employees have to be made happy. So it's always it's always challenging.
Yeah, we so totally resonate with it, ma'am, because with mental health also we face the same thing, right? People say, what difference are you making by doing the webinars? But in fact, even that one smile, one tiny step of the person going and admitting and seeking the help, it's kind of
Yeah.
like, a major thrill for us. So I totally
Yeah.
resonate with what you're saying. So the other thing that I wanted to ask is, with you as an individual yourself. Now we were talking about your organization, but you as an individual, is there any challenge, the kind of challenges that you have faced, and how you have overcome? I'm sure there would be days when you are like, down in the dumps, where you feel that, oh, things are not working out the way I want to work out. So how, if there are certain days like that, how have you overcome that mental block, or the mental what do you call, the downward spiral, so as to say? How have you managed to come out of it?
Okay, there are many days. Yeah, there are many days where it's not, because this kind of work you have to be satisfied. Like sometimes when my students don't study, I feel down. Or sometimes when we don't get students for a course, I feel down. Sometimes when we don't have the necessary funds to conduct a program, or when I myself am not earning, or when I'm, because I myself I'm also supporting other people outside the organization. I'm doing other things. So I feel like, okay, why am I not working in a corporate? Why don't I get 30, 40,000 in my account? I mean, why is this? Why is that? So there are points where you question yourself, that why are you doing? Because also in an organization you have to invest. Also you have to put money, you have to put care, you have to put time, you have to put commitment. I mean, it's not like a 9 to 5 job. At 7 o'clock, sometimes a student gets sick, they have to be taken to hospital. At 10 o'clock, sometimes I mean, we may get a visitor and they have to come and we have to run. So there are many many things that you. So it's a round the clock job. There are some days where you don't have any rest or any this thing. All the burdens are at your all the burdens of the staff, the personal burdens. It's all on your head. So as an individual, sometimes you feel, okay, why am I doing this work? Because I'm not getting any rest. I'm not getting any. I'm not getting any consolation. Why do I do this? I don't get students. I don't get this. Sometimes, there's government problems. Sometimes there's political problems. Sometimes there's something else happening in the state, and due to which everybody gets distracted, and people, why? So there is a lot of instances where I ask myself this question. But then the little voice inside me says, sometimes, don't give up, don't give up. So then I continue with that, and I hope I can continue for as long as I can. Manchanda Karyana, it's a human nature. We don't know how long our blood remains the same hot, energetic, young, running person. But I want to be that young, running person, energetic person as long as I can.
It's all in the mind.
Pray that you do that. Okay, we all pray for that, that you stay
Yeah.
young and energetic at 90 as well.
Yeah.
All right. So, ma'am, now coming to a slightly, like, lighter side, so that we get to know you better. What do you generally do during your free time?
Well, I like writing, so I like to write articles on inclusion. I study online whatever I can. I study about accessibility. I study about counseling. I'm planning. I wanted to do an online, course in counseling. I listen to audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and a lot of talks, and I love novels. I like reading novels. I mean, women-centered novels. So yeah, I love reading novels.
Okay. So let's do a slight rapid fire round sort of a thing. Okay. Where you just give one word answer if possible. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Your favorite food?
Uh, Rice, I
Uh,
would say.
just rice, or like, because I have a son who just eats rice without any curry. So is it?
No, I need curries. No, I need curries. Yeah.
Okay. Your favorite place?
Well, I like every place, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Person whom you admire the most?
No one. I learn everything every day from every person I meet. I mean, ranging from the president of India to the auto driver who drives me around when I need.
Okay. One thing that you cannot do without.
No, there's nothing like that. Zero attachment. There's no thing in the world that I cannot do without. I mean, I don't have attachment to things. Yeah.
Okay. So we heard that you have done skydiving, paragliding, tandem cycling, and rope climbing also, right?
Yeah.
So Which one did you like better, skydiving or paragliding?
Well, I liked both skydiving and paragliding. Of course, skydiving was done in Belgium. We jumped from 4,000 feet high, and the instructor that was with me, he was giving me a running commentary. He was audio describing everything, so I didn't feel scared, but I felt like I was actually flying in the sky. And
Wow.
paragliding also a similar experience. It happened in Kalimpong, Darjeeling district, and since I was there in my childhood, it was a very good experience to do paragliding too.
Okay. Do you have a favorite quote?
No.
No favorite quote, but something that is that stuck in your mind, or something that you feel that it's pretty good, sort of thing, which kind of motivates you at times. Is there any quote like that?
No, there's no quote like that.
Okay, all right. Not even illuminating minds, transforming lives, which is actually
Well, yes. Well, yeah, that illuminating minds, transforming lives. Yes, I did like that quote. And of course, and yeah, there's something that motivates me. The biblical quote that says, "Don't let your left hand know what your right hand does." So I've always been following that principle. And then it also says, there's another quote which I like. I don't know who had made this quote, but yeah, it was made by Stella Young, another disability activist. That the only disability is a bad attitude. So yeah, that I've kept on my
wow,
WhatsApp tagline also. Yeah, the only
wow.
disability is a bad attitude. Yeah.
So, which is your favorite book, audio book, or the book that you like? You can keep reading
Uh,
many times, or like listening to it many times.
I like Malgudi Days because it actually describes the lives of people in the middle class society in South India. I like The Inheritance of Loss by Kiran Desai. That also describes the contrast of lives between two different classes of society. It describes the struggle of women, of lower class people in foreign countries, the upper class people and their luxurious life. Because I believe in an egalitarian society.
Hmm.
I don't believe that less fortunate people should be always, subservient to highly fortunate people. So yeah, I really like that book. I like books that depict people's struggles. That long silence and even in custody and fasting and feasting. All these women-centric books, family-centric, women-centric. Yeah.
Okay. So, could you help us in telling us how can we, as a society, be more sensitive and help those who are visually impaired?
Well, not only visually impaired. Well, I wouldn't say you should help only people who are visually impaired. There are 21 disabilities according to the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. So every person has their own needs. So if you meet a visually impaired person, please help them cross the road. Ask them if they need help. Address them. Provide, digital content for them. Help them in whatever way you can. If there's hearing impaired people, try to provide a sign language interpreter. If you have a deaf person attending your sessions, try to provide an interpreter. If there's an autistic student, try to have a special educator who is well versed in catering to the needs of person with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. So I wouldn't say you should only restrict your helping to the visually impaired, but try to help whoever comes across your line and learn more about inclusivity and accessibility, diversity and inclusion. Because diversity and inclusion, diversity is a fact. Inclusion is a choice. Diversity is there. We are a diverse communicate. A diverse community. Even India is diverse. North India and South India are like two different countries. The same way disabled people and non-disabled people are completely different. They just have certain adaptations, but we're all people. If you go to France or if you go to, Hungary or some other country, you may be disabled because you don't know the language. If they come to India, they're disabled because they don't know our language. So we are diverse in all respects. So to accept diversity as it is, to treat people the way they wish to be treated.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Any message to all the audience that you'd like to give who will be listening to this particular session of
Yeah,
ours?
this is the message that I would like to leave you with. I would like to leave you with a quote from Voice International, the Netherlands. Diversity is a fact, inclusion is a choice. So it's up to us how we embrace diversity and practice inclusion.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. It was really inspiring, and it's I'm sure everybody who are here, they're also equally inspired by all that you have done, and we hope to God that you continue doing this good work forever and ever.